Welcome to Sabbath School Daily. This quarter we have been studying from the book of Psalms. Today we're starting the last lesson of our quarter. It's lesson 13 and it has the title, Wait on the Lord. Today we'll be studying from Sabbath's lesson, and our memory verse for the week comes from Psalm 27 verse 14 that says, Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. The lesson opens today by saying we have reached the last week in this quarter study of the Psalms. The spiritual journey has taken us through the experience of awe before the majestic Creator, King, and Judge, through the joys of divine deliverance, forgiveness, and salvation, through moments of surrender in grief and lament, and through the glorious promises of God's everlasting presence and the anticipation of the unending universal worship of God. The journey continues, though, as we live in the hope of the Lord's coming, when our longing for God will find its ultimate fulfillment. If there is a final word that we can draw from the Psalms, it should be wait on the Lord. Waiting on God is always one of the hardest things that we're going to do, simply because as human beings, we want to be in control. We want to be at the helm of our life, knowing what is going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how. But waiting on God, it means surrender. It means allowing Him to be God in our life, to be in control of the helm. And so that places us in uncharted territory because we don't really know what's going to happen next. We don't know how things are going to turn out, but we're trusting in someone who knows everything. And so there's this duality to it, which is the certainty that God always knows best, but at the same time, it's the uncertainty that we don't know anything. Now, the truth is that we never really know anything. Life is very uncertain. Life is very uncertain, and anything can happen at any time. And so when we think that we're in control, when we think that we are able to coordinate events and circumstances, it's very limited. Of course, we can decide what to do and where to go, but at the end of the day, just one little wrong turn here or one wrong decision there, or perhaps something that has nothing to do with our choices or decisions just happens to us, and it kind of derails everything. And so the acknowledgement that we are not in control, it just helps us understand our place in this world and in this life, allowing God to be God in our life. I've said this before, every human being has a throne and a cross in their heart. And either they put up that old self on the cross and allow Christ to be on the throne, or they sit on the throne and put Christ up on the cross. The problem is that when we put ourselves on the throne and Christ on the cross, we are trying to take control of something that is uncontrollable. But when we place Christ on the throne and that old self on the cross, then we know that the outcome is sure because the right person is on the throne and the right person is on the cross. The lesson then concludes by saying, waiting on the Lord is not an idle and desperate biding of one's time. Instead, waiting on the Lord is an act full of trust and faith, a trust and faith revealed in action. Waiting on the Lord transforms our gloomy evenings with the expectancy of bright mornings. It strengthens our hearts with renewed hope and peace. It motivates us to work harder, bringing in the sheaves of plentiful harvest from the Lord's mission fields. Waiting on the Lord will never put us to shame, but will be richly rewarded because the Lord is faithful to all His promises. This has a lot to do with something that I mentioned last week, where I said that worshiping God and living in communion with Him is a lifestyle. It's not something that we just do here or there or in one moment or another. It includes all of life. Sometimes people think that all they have to do is go to church and maybe read a verse here and there and say their morning and evening prayers, and that's enough. They can just sit back and wait for Jesus to come back. But the best way for you to await Jesus' second coming is by getting busy, is by participating in His work. After all, saving others will help save you. And so keep that in mind as we study this week's lesson as well. I hope that you truly study your lesson. This is going to be a beautiful lesson. It's going to sum up our whole quarter, and so don't miss out. Look up the Bible verses, look at the texts, answer the questions as you find them, and that will be a blessing for you. Also, please remember to comment down below. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your ideas and your thoughts. And also, please remember to like, to share, and to subscribe to our videos. We release one every day, and I hope to see you again here tomorrow for another Sabbath School Daily.